Hey, folks, this episode of Paddle Talk is brought to you by RacingInTheDirt.com. Racing in the Dirt has parts, equipment, and apparel for all your off-road competition needs. Racing in the Dirt has just one mission, and that's to help all of their customers compete at their very best. With over 30 years of motorsports competition experience, they know what it takes to maintain that competitive edge, and they are equipped to keep you there. On-site welding and fabrication, incredible selection of parts, and experience and helpful staff as well. If you go to their website, racinginthedirt.com, you can shop for parts and custom built chassis as well. They sell quality brands such as Interco, Molinari, Real, SCS gearboxes, Yukon gear and axle, RJS racing equipment, Moser engineering, Simpson, Stroud, Willwood, MSD Ignition, AFCO, FTI, Good Vibrations Motorsports, and King Off-Road Racing Shocks. You can look at their axles and parts where Racing in the Dirt offers all of the Go Fast parts for any axle setup. Have you checked out their new Dana 30 Fab housing? Racing in the Dirt Pro D30 housing starting at $590. They're Racing in the Dirt tires, the DOT boggers, standard cut boggers, magnum cut boggers, platinum cut boggers, DOT TSL swampers, the cut swampers, and they even cut your tires on site. Once again, over 30 years of experience doing this stuff, so you know you're getting good quality stuff from Racing in the Dirt. Also, Real Wheel dealers. They have a bunch of awesome real wheels from Real Racing Wheels. And they're Racing in the Dirt built chassis, whether you're looking for a full build, turnkey, ready to race, or simply a cage in your existing ride, or maybe a chassis that will be in the foundation of your newest race vehicle. Racing in the Dirt offers it all. You can also contact them about a consultation today. You can search for their products on their website. They have wheel adapters, hub kits, brake hat kits, brake and hub components, suspension parts, air filters, Racing in the Dirt knuckles, axles and parts, Racing in the Dirt chain drives and parts, limiter straps, parachute setups, side-by-side and UTV parts. So you can get in touch with them at 920-693-2000. Once again, that's 920-693-2000. And you can even email them at Scott, that's SCOTT, Scott at racinginthedirt.com. Once again, you can get a hold of them by calling them at 920-693-2000. 920-693-2000. You can also email them at Scott, SCOTT, at racinginthedirt.com. And then they are also open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And don't forget to check out their website, racinginthedirt.com. That is racinginthedirt.com. And don't forget the UPS Daily.
Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Paddle Talk, the podcast, episode 42. And the first thing we're talking about this week is Pro Truck Nationals. This is the wrap-up show sponsored by High Gear Transmission out of Conklin, Michigan. Find them on Facebook, find them on the internet, or give them a call. That's High Gear Transmission, Conklin, Michigan. All right, so with me is Mr. Jon Sorg and KW. Mr. Kyle Wiedmeyer. Gents, how are we doing?
We're doing good.
We're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good.
We had a heck of a weekend, didn't we?
Oh, yeah. It was a good weekend. The Pro Truck Nationals never disappoints.
That is a fact. So maybe a little damp Friday night, Jon? I mean,
the weather was pretty crazy. I ain't gonna lie. I was a little concerned off and on. I knew we weren't really supposed to get poured on, but Friday we got more rain than I expected. And then, of course, the cooler than expected temperatures were quite crazy.
Quite, most definitely.
For this time of year.
Oh, the weather was, besides like the rain, but the weather was perfect. Like 60 degrees, 50 degrees, great horsepower weather. I mean, my turbo razor not going to brag here, but I ran a 5.25 at 58 mile an hour. First time I've ever done that. That was the horsepower weather right there. And it's a great Ricky Thorpe said. He knew when Doug ran a great number, my race was going to run a 5.2, and it did. Great weekend all around.
Predictable. Predictable. I like it.
Very much so. So Friday night we got started. We had Pro Truck Elite going off. We had the open bracket, and we had the 350. John, you got some results for us, let's start with the open bracket class.
Sure. Open bracket. We had second place was Jeff Miller, and then first place was Mitchell Eaker.
That's a pretty good final, I'd say. Both those guys were on pretty well, it looked like. So, and both of you guys ran it. KW, did you run Friday night?
Yeah, I ran Friday night. I think I went a round or two.
He went around me in the first round.
Oh,
yeah.
I think I owe him one now.
I got you a couple of times.
Hey, we didn't get to Saturday yet. Don't let the cat out of the bag.
That's right.
Oh, sorry, no spoilers.
Yeah, that was a spoiler. Oh, man. You ruined Saturday's show.
So 350.
350, we had Dean Dangerman in second place, and which was a great final round. Took the loss to, of course, the ever mighty this year, Terry Wise. I mean, what a season the man had.
Terry Wise has been on a tear in that 350 class. It's big like time. And it's not like he's dominated before. I mean, it's almost like he kind of found it and was like, hey man, this is pretty sweet. I kind of like it, and just took off.
Oh yeah, he found a really good set in the middle of last year, and ever since then he's been building on it, and they've been doing a great job.
Yes, I was reminded to shout out Donovan Lattimore Racing Engines on the side of that car, and I tell you what, that thing has been flawless all year. So shout out to those guys as well.
Definitely. And we capped the night off here with Pro Truck Elite, and second place, Earl Lettner, who happened to be a no-show because of engine failures in the semifinals, to Jason Benson in first place. He came out of nowhere for the first time this year and made his own unexpected trip, and I don't know that a lot of other people expected him to be there either.
K-Dub, how hard to take two different cars, two different weekends, and not only go to the final, but win that class?
Oh, it's very difficult. It's all the cars that were all the fast trucks that were in that class. I mean, you had Earl running what, 311, 312. We had you're gonna have to help me out with the names. I'm terrible with names. And we had the other truck that was running what, a 311. And
oh yeah, Curtis Combs ran a 311.
Oh yeah, Combs was running great. First round, Earl versus Combs, 13 versus 11. Earl got the whole shot. I mean, that was a great class.
That was a final round pass right there. That was an awesome run.
Mm-hmm. And I tell you what, that just goes to show, especially with the chip draw, you never know what you're going to get. I mean, let's face it, that pass, Curtis Combs and Earl, is a final anywhere else in the country by far.
We were talking about that. Me and Jim Bailey were talking about how cool is the chip draw. I mean, you just don't know. You just don't know until you draw, so you better just get in it.
Well, Jim better like the chip draw, because I think the chip draw somehow has gotten him to round 2 both times.
Yeah,
so he should be kind of happy there.
Yeah.
So Jason Vanderwall's crew absolutely flogging on that thing. Those guys put in 40 hours worth of work in about a 3-hour stretch, it seemed, putting that thing back together.
But they did it. What happened to them in the first round? Do you know?
I believe somebody said it possibly over boosted and just shut itself off. I don't know, to be honest. That is an unknown for me. So, but that first round matchup, Earl and Curtis.
Oh yeah,
that was something else. Unbelievable. So congrats to all them.
Friday.
Benson wins the war, but Curtis Combs is your first ever Pro Truck Elite Point Series champ.
Yes,
that's pretty good, I would say.
That was pretty cool.
Very cool. So, all right. So moving on to Saturday, do we have some junior and kids results?
We got him. As long as my glasses work. There we go. Let's see. Pee Wee. We start off with second place, Shane Hudson, and first place, Levi Ensing. Juniors, we go second place, Crew Herman, and first place, Isabel Penoyer. I think she won
Hey,
last race too. She's been on a tear herself.
absolutely. So,
And that wraps up the kids. You want to
K-Dub,
go
any of your
in?
favorites doing well in the kids class?
I think Oliver got to the semis if I remember right, and then Audrina, she brought out the junior drags for the first time this year, but went out in the first round. But she's gonna come back next year, bigger, stronger, faster. And so a lot of the kids that I know, I think they did okay, but they didn't pull out the win today.
Now, I believe if I saw correctly, well, we'll save that for another one. So we'll talk about Mr. Bennett and the season points in another episode. So,
Sounds
Oh,
good.
yeah.
all right. So moving on, we had all the regular Silverback off-road speedway classes going on. Points and a half. Now there was some discussion, I know, because there were some people that were under the impression it was double points. It was actually points and a half. But so you've got all the regular Silverback classes, and then you've got Pro Truck, the PTN class thrown in on top of it. So what do we have for some results? And we'll say Pro Truck for last.
All right, sounds good to me. We'll start with comp class. Second place, Kyle Wiedmeyer.
Ooh, K-Dub.
Yeah.
Yeah, K-Dub. Except for he took me out on the way to do that too.
Oh yeah.
But do it. Yeah, yeah, you got me there. All right, that's cool, man. That's cool. Like I said, he won the battle, I won the war.
I'll be back.
You can destroy me next year, son, but in the meantime, I got 6 months of glory behind me.
I hope you enjoy it.
All right, we'll get into pro comp here. We got
Hey,
Brian.
whoa, who was our
First-
winner in comp?
Oh, shoot.
It doesn't matter.
Eaker, didn't I? But it was Mitchell Eaker. Not only did he win Friday night, he won comp on Saturday night.
Tell you what, that car ran really, really good there this weekend. Shout out to that team, man. I was impressed. That car
They've been
did not
dialing it
miss a
in
beat.
tight. They are
Yeah.
a rough competitor.
Yep.
Yeah, he did pretty good. He did really good.
So now we'll move on to pro comp, and we had second place John DeBoer, who's been coming out swinging lately. You see him a lot going rounds. Against first place Brian Jones. He took the wrong class, if I recall. There, Isaac. We'll have to talk to him about that. Get his priorities realigned.
I was gonna say it was like he was number one qualifier in Pro Truck, but somehow I think he took out some frustration on that Pro Comp class on his way through. So, and shout out also John DeBoer, who we'll talk about in a little bit for Pro Truck, going arounds in multiple classes. That is not an easy thing to do.
No, like I said, we'll talk about him a little bit more, but he's been on a roll. ATV, we have second place Sean Stoner against his son, first place John Stoner.
Family affair in the final.
Family affair of Stoners in the final, man.
K-Dub, if you were racing Brian in the final, are you changing up your game at all, or are you just gonna do your thing?
I'm gonna taunt him first of all, and then get into a station battle with him. I'll probably change everything. Whatever he thinks I'm gonna do the opposite. But
Is that for
those
me?
Stoner guys, they pretty much ruined my path to ATV to try to get that point championship. Those guys are too good. I think they took me out almost every race.
Hey, they're great neighbors to have. They're great neighbors at the track. They're great neighbors on the track for that reason. I sent them out and said, "Here's your mission for the season. Do my bidding, please."
And they did.
And they did. They hammered down.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, they definitely know what they're doing over there.
That's for sure. Two really clean bikes and two, from what my interaction has been with them, two really nice guys and just a good family team, right? I mean, you like
good
to see
family and fierce competitors.
Absolutely. So, all right. So ATV, where are we heading next, Johnny?
We're gonna go to Pro Index.
Oh,
and second place, we had John McCall again, staying up there at the top. And with the win, first place, Ryan Wilson coming out of Ohio. So
Yeah,
that's cool to see.
that was a good 325 class, I felt Saturday night.
Yes. Yeah, it was. It really was. Them guys are getting dialed in and hammering down, and yeah, it's going to be a pretty good class. We'll move into open mod. Second place, Jason Hendricks. And against first place, Brian McQuethy. Damn, K-Dub, he got a first. How'd you do?
I don't recall.
K-Dub, did you guys have a meetup in the open mod class? You and Brian?
We didn't race all year, which is sad. I think, yeah, we didn't race all year. I wish I would have lined up against him a little bit more so I could try to show him who's boss, but unfortunately I didn't. I think every
You
time I
didn't,
line up
did
in
you?
front, he lines up in the back. Every time I line up in the back, he lines up in the front. I don't get it. So he's hiding.
Nah.
Fun fact, Brian's
Well,
never treated me one time. Not one time.
there's always two sides to every story. I'd love to get Brian on here to see his rendition of it.
Well, Jason Hendricks is probably just happy he didn't have to rerun Sorg at some point in time that night and ended up making it to the
have
finals.
epic failures and Thank K-Dub for that again.
You're welcome, buddy.
All right.
Shoot.
So open mod. What else do we have?
We are down to Pro Truck. If you'd like to take it away.
All right. Yeah. So Pro Truck, our number one qualifier was Brian Jones. And I tell you what, where was that? I believe it was at the Larry Wagner weekend when he was up. John, you might have been there. He said, you tell those guys that the champ is back and playtime is over. And he was not kidding. Goes number one qualifier. And unfortunately, though, for Brian, runs into Brian McQuethy in I believe in the first round, wasn't it? Let me look. Hold on.
That's a bad draw.
Oh, no, that's right. He had the bye in that first round. And then ran into Ryan Portinga in the second round. So, So that's kind of how that shook out. But really interesting here, though. Ryan Portinga and Brian McQuethy both came from the bottom half of the ladder in both races. Neither one of them qualified very well because if one of them would have qualified even a little better, we wouldn't have had the one race runoff at the end of the night.
I say that means neither one of them got bonus points then.
Exactly. That's exactly what it means. Okay. That's crazy. I don't think we talked about it.
That shows how important that 1 point can be.
Absolutely. You're not kidding on that one. So, K-Dub, did you ever think we'd end up having the same two guys in the final after 4th of July there?
Oh, I could never have called that. That was pretty crazy.
It was nuts.
You got to have the chip draw and everything go in your favor. So to have it happen like that is crazy.
Well, yeah. If you end up on opposite side of the ladder both times and for both guys just to work. I mean, we kept waiting in the tower because I was like, okay, well, they're both through the first round. Okay, they're both through the second. And then all of a sudden they're in the semis, and I'm like, this cannot be happening. This is crazy. And sure enough, here we are all over again in the finals. And Ryan Portinga picks up the win, which means we're tied. And the official, I'll say, Pro Truck Nationals tiebreaker, the first one is race wins. Well, they both had one. And we had agreed at the drivers' meeting. We told everybody, hey, this is how it's going to get settled if something happens. And everybody was in agreement. And that was the next thing, was a one race, basically race off, winner take all. So yeah, if you can't get up for that, I mean,
that was cool.
Can you even race, right? I mean, K-Dub, if you can't be on your game for that round, are you alive at that point? I don't know.
Why even go to the starting
everyone
line?
On the hill with everyone on that hill watching, like almost the whole park was sitting there watching that race.
Absolutely. And hey, that's okay. So that's something I want to talk to you guys about. And it seemed like once stuff got done at Applefest, say that 5:30 range, there was a ton of spectators there Saturday night.
Yeah, they started rolling in.
Which is awesome, man. I love that. Shout out to the track and everybody, Rich, Scott, everybody that advertised, because I tell you what, Saturday night, especially after, like I said, things got done downtown with the Applefest, it seemed like there was a ton of people on the property.
Yeah, Chad Coker had his car set up there. He said he had tons of people asking when they were running.
Yep. it was crazy. I actually had some friends of mine from HES, Holland Equipment Sales, stop up and see me in the tower, and they actually were calling people they knew and telling them, "Hey, man, we're going to stay for a while. Why don't you come down and meet us?" It was
Really?
great. I mean,
That's cool.
that's exactly what you want, right?
That's exactly what you want to hear.
It just felt like the old days of just seeing racing at dark, seeing the hill packed. I mean, it just felt great.
Yeah.
K-Dub, spot on. That right. That is what it's all about, is seeing that crowd there. And, you know, the three of us are old enough or young enough, depending on how you look at it, but to remember that that's how it used to be, though. I mean, people would come from the campgrounds and stuff later on, 7:30, 8 o'clock, because they knew they would get down to the finals and the semis and see some really good racing yet.
Right.
So yeah, no, I love that. I love that for the track. Love that for everybody. So at the end of the day, Ryan Portinga takes the win in the winner take all finale, ends up winning the big Moon Man trophy, ends up winning the race, caps off a heck of a weekend for them. Shout out Jay Portinga and his crew put in a ton of work Saturday, pulled the transmission out, changed an input shaft. I mean, there was a lot of work going in there too.
Right.
So just to clear up something as well, I had some people that apparently were thinking that Jay skipped his qualifier for Pro Truck. He actually didn't. Jay actually qualified number 5, actually out-qualified Ryan to put himself on the ladder, and that's how they ended up racing each other first round. So It was not I had somebody say that earlier this week. It was not just some random thing. They ended up. That's exactly where they qualified. We held off making the ladder till Jay made his pass because we didn't want there to be any kind of question marks, or anything else. So,
well, that's just proof you'll get them.
Yeah, right. So okay, so there's that. And then somebody comes and takes Doug Vinlette's track record. And it's Doug Vinlette took his own track record from himself. K-Dub, I know you were down there for at least one of those passes. How'd that car look?
I've never thought in my life that the track record ever get broken. But just watching it take off on a two-step, just watching this giant motor on a two-step, it's just rattling how loud it is, and it takes off and just flies. It seems like the 60 foot has to be a 0.9. I mean, it's wild how fast it goes, and it stops so easy for going as fast as it's going. I mean, it's crazy. I can't believe I've ever seen a car. I can't believe I saw a car do a 2.5 at West Michigan. It's great.
Right.
It's great work right there.
And I said that Friday night, even on, I believe, on our live stream. To my knowledge, I've never seen a car dip into the 250s at West Michigan. So that was, and to go, almost to the 40s. There's only I think we talked about it a little bit. 3 to 4 guys.
262 was the former track record.
Yep. There's only 3 or 4 guys that have ever run a 240 in an alcohol car.
Right.
It's a small list. So,
right. That's a good
he
point.
is knocking on the door of that. That is unbelievable.
Definitely knocking on the door. I was surprised. I thought there might be a high 50 in there, but depending on the track and everything, but to go in the low 50s, it was just wow.
Yeah. Did you guys did you see anything corrected altitude or anything Saturday night, John?
It was about 0.
I didn't really zone in on it too hot, but Kyle probably did.
I was watching it on my phone, and right when we got towards the night, it got to about 0 feet. Throughout the day, it was about 400, and then it started plummeting Saturday night.
Yeah. Somebody had told me right about 7 o'clock it was like 250 or something. I was like, oh my word, that is crazy. It was
crazy.
We've been in 2,000 pretty much all summer.
Yeah,
I've
seen what we have adjusted altitudes typically around 2,000, Kyle.
Yeah, throughout the summer it's usually that high. Usually like Mother's Day weekend, like the first test and tune, just when our numbers really good. But I don't think we've raced this late in the season in a long time before I started watching it, and that air was good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So Doug Vinlette just killing it. 251 with the 6 guys? Is that where we ended up?
251, yep, and a 254.
Yep. So
yeah,
almost 122 miles an hour even. So congrats again to Doug and the team. And I tell you what, man, I John, you're going to get to go. KW, are you heading down to Brookville?
The game time decision. I got to see if my dad's going to get my truck fixed or not. Get a little problem coming
Do we
home.
need to do we
So
need
we're
to
going to
send
see.
Tony some messages? Do we need to send Tony messages for you?
Oh, he's already on the case. He has the 2 batteries ordered. He's already looking into the transmission issue. So we're going to see.
All right. Well, I tell you what, I'm kind of jealous. I got to work that weekend, but Doug and the crew heading for Brookville, and I guarantee you that car is going to be ready to roll once they get there. So congratulations again to them. Congratulations to Ryan Portinga and that whole team. Brian McQuethy as well. I mean, you couldn't have scripted it this way because I don't think anybody ever would have thought it would have panned out like it did, right, guys?
Right. Crazy.
So, all right. So, hey, before we wrap this segment up, let's go with one thing about the weekend, either good, bad, or otherwise. Johnny, why don't you take the lead on this? What do you got?
I'll take a good and a bad. I mean,
All
I
right.
got the worst of both ends here. I mean, I got my ass kicked by Kyle twice. Both days.
Hell yeah.
I mean, so I'm at the bottom of the barrel. And then all of a sudden, luckily I went enough rounds on Saturday to stay on top to remain the points champion. So I guess
Well,
that
no
was
spoilers. That's another episode.
oh, it's already printed.
K-Dub, what about you?
All right, the good. Like I said earlier, I ran a 5:25 in that turbo razor I have. I mean, that's awesome. What else? Another pro whooped Johnny not once, but twice.
Twice.
Now a con. So the biggest disappointment of the race, I was cooking a Casey Meats picanha steak, but I was running around too much, completely screwed it up, dropped it on the ground, wanted to cry, lost because of it. Let Corey Gum down by not cooking a perfect picanha to post it on Facebook to pump up KC Meats. I let him down. I let my brother down. Let my family down. I'll never forgive myself for that.
But you rinsed that meat and you ate it, didn't you?
Oh, I ate it. Look, a little bit of sand in it, but I ate it.
It's all good. Helps rinse the teeth.
Well, good weekend all the time. It was a good weekend, even though it dropped the picanha steak. But good weekend all the way around.
Oh man, that's awesome. Well, I'm gonna bring it high and low of my own. The high being that past Friday night with Earl and Curtis Combs, and then Doug resetting the track record. Those are two probably the most amazing passes I've ever seen in my time of going to Silverback. Just I tell you what, trucks door to door running that kind of ETs, just mind blowing. Even I would say even 5 years ago, that's not even on the radar for anybody. And these guys seem to be legging it out. I mean, I get it. There's a ton of work that goes into it and everything else, but yeah, just it seems like the norm. I mean, but at the end of the day, even Jason Benson wins that class. And he clicked off some 317s, 19s like nothing. I mean, it was crazy how he almost kind of under the radar did so well in that class because everybody was focused on everything else that was going on around him. And here's Benson just kind of ripping off a 17, without doing too much trouble and kind of keeping to himself. And all of a sudden, here we are in the semis, and there he is again, So
that was kind of funny because he did fly under the radar, but the whole event for prior to, I didn't have any inclination that he was even going to be there.
Yeah. Yep. I tell you what. So
surprise.
My only down of it, I got to say, it's kind of a split decision type of thing, but it was a shame somebody had to lose for Pro Truck Saturday night to get through all of that. And everything else, it really was a shame that somebody had to lose. And it didn't matter who it was going to be because it had been such an awesome weekend to get to that last pair, but we all know, right? There has to be a winner. There has to be a loser. But just a shame that somebody had to because it was an awesome weekend. And I tell you what, there have been multiple weekends this summer at Silverback that have just turned out. I mean, the Larry Wagner race, the first pro truck race, just a really, really good job. So shout out to Rich, Scott, everybody else involved with pro truck. And I tell you what, Brody, Brett, Chum, everybody involved Silverback Off-Road Speedway. I tell you what, they've had some great events this summer, and man, it's great to see that track back front and center where it belongs as one of the better, if not the best, sand drag track, at least on this side of the country. Agree there, guys?
Such a well-oiled machine.
Talk to Brett about his driving skills.
Oh,
yeah, I went there.
Yeah. Willie, I don't know if there's any video of that, but let's just say Darren Smith wasn't the only one that had an incident with a tire Saturday night. We'll leave it at that. All right. All right. Well, that is what we have. Pro Truck Wrap Up, again, sponsored by High Gear Transmission out of Conklin, Michigan. Find them on Facebook or on the internet. And thanks to all of our Pro Truck National sponsors that sponsored not only the race, but also the coverage. So really appreciate everybody. Curtis Combs at Advanced Underground stepping up, Adam Cates and Cates Designs, Power Plus, Earl stepping up, as well as Jim Bailey. Oh, hey, Jim Bailey had a new car all last weekend too. Looked really good. Maybe not quite what they're looking for out of it yet, but big things to come for next year. So that was good to see as well. Yeah. So, all right. So that's what we've got. Pro Truck Nationals 2024 is in the books, and so is this segment of Panel Talk. So, what?
Did it hurt? Did it hurt the Nuggets? Did it hurt the Nuggets?
No.
Back with Panel Talk, we're here talking to Isaac DeHaan, who ripped off a 4.0 on the Bennett Motorsports laydown twin cylinder snowmobile. How did that feel, Isaac?
I'm not gonna lie, man. It's been a hot minute since I made a pass at West Michigan. Well, West Michigan Silverback. It's really dark in the shutdown, and at 4.0, you get there really fast.
Yeah, you do. You look good on that thing.
It was fun. Huge shout out to Dan and Nick Bennett for allowing me to do that. I super appreciate it, and it was a lot of fun. Really it was. So, and who knows? 2025 is coming up, and it's a new year. We'll go with that. So,
oh man!
All right, sounds good.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Panel Talk podcast, and we are talking Shelton's Dirt Drags coming up this coming weekend, September 12, 13, and 14. I have Caleb Mings in the house all the way from the West Coast with a fine-looking mustache, and also Mr. Paul Moore, he of the unheard-of CC cylinder bikes. Welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for coming on, and hey, let's talk some Sheltons, right?
Yeah, we're pretty excited about this race coming up this weekend. It's it's always been a great race. Anytime you can race in Kentucky in the fall, it's awesome, man.
It is very much so. Caleb Mings, you wish you could be here, I'm sure. So
I certainly do. I mean, the Bluegrass Nationals are always a great time. I've wanted to race on that Magic Dirt for so many years, and just kind of hasn't happened. And definitely, I'm going to be watching online and doing a little bench racing for sure.
Awesome. I like it. All right, Paul. So we're starting off Thursday, September 12th. What's happening on Thursday there?
So Thursday, I think we're going to start test and tune noon. Shelton's does have a curfew throughout the week. So I know James is really shooting to get started there as soon as we can. And we'll probably shut down around 8 that night. So Thursday's going to be open track test and tune. So as many passes as you guys can get in. Definitely take advantage because, the weather's going to be great. James raced 200 foot last weekend, had a big turnout. We couldn't be there. We were up here at a little local race. But he had a huge turnout for 200 foot last weekend. So I know the track's ready. The track was fast last weekend. And I know, Thursday it's looking really good weather wise. So yeah, we're excited.
So in other words, no excuses. Open test and tune, noon to 8. It's open track. I mean, you have no excuse not to get a bunch of passes in.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially on a Thursday, if you got something that you're going to be trying to shake down, a new build, that's what we're going to be doing. I've got a new build coming out for a customer here. So I'll be working on it Thursday. So we're looking forward to, lots of passes and, getting in that magic dirt.
So maybe some of the people on that are tuning in have not seen this build. Without giving too much away, because I know you take a lot of pride in this, what's the name of this new build?
I call it a lot of things. It was a 10-month build process for us. And it's probably as far as bike builds from ground up stuff for us. It was my first ground up build that was not like for an in-house build for us. So this was, in-house. I was happy to see it like finally start, make noise, do typical two-stroke stuff, leak fuel and oil all over the place. So, it's, that was exciting. So no, we're excited. Andrew, I did a bike for him last year. Just kind of took a bike he already had and did our thing. And he wanted to do another one. And I said, okay. And he said, I wanted you to do it your way. So he calls it Paul's way. So whenever I would ask him a question, he said, just do it how you would do it for yourself. And I always tell him, I said, listen, man, I said, badass ain't cheap and cheap ain't badass. I call it banknote because, man, it is, you don't realize what goes into a full build until you do one from the ground up. I mean, when you start with nothing but a piece of paper and you gotta assemble something out of it, it's a lot. So, no, I'm excited. And I'll be riding it on Thursday and hopefully shaking it down and running some numbers. The motor that's in it, I'm not going to say what size it is, but I will say in 2015, it was our personal motor. Dennis Packard built the motor. In 2015, that motor set the all motor PSDA record with Jeff Patterson on it. I'm sorry, it was 2014. Jeff Patterson at Little Sandy ran a 337 or a 338 on it. At Little Sandy and took the all motor national record. And then Steph, the following spring, broke that record with the same motor, same chassis combination at Silver Lake. And I think she went like a 334 on motor. So it's a and it's a pretty hard hitting little motor. It's been sitting on a shelf here at the shop since 2016.
So a couple of things, just so much in that one little piece. One, I'm jealous that you got stuff like that just sitting on the shelf. What the heck, man? And then two, you're going to need a t-shirt with that phrase on it because that may be the phrase of the summer right there. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's right. I just tell him, and he was great to work with. I like working with customers like them. That's like, they just want results, yep. and it takes the right parts, first and foremost, the right parts to get the results that people want. And, I just always told him, I said, badass ain't cheap and cheap ain't badass. So, he said, do it your way. So it's Paul's way. So, and it's, I painted it green. So it's the color of money, right? Funny, right?
Oh man. All right. So, for all you out there, if you show up on Thursday, look for that bike because Paul will be riding it. So, all right. So what happens on Friday then?
I'm not sure exactly. I know we're on Friday. We're going to start around noon. So it should be noon to 8. And I believe, and Billy can probably chime in here, but I think we're starting with some bracket racing on Friday. And then if I'm not mistaken, I believe the Young Gun Shootout. I think it's 18 and under is also Friday. Does that sound right, Billy?
So on Friday, it does say Open ET bracket, and then Next Gen Pro Index, 19 years and under, and then the Hunter Wall Drop single cylinder shootout, and then the 650 twin.
Yeah. So Friday, Friday's, an action-packed day, because like us, we don't have Banshee-based stuff. We don't have single-cylinder stuff. So we don't have to sit out because we're also going to be able to bracket race that day. So, and it doesn't matter, what you have, jump in there, bracket racing, test and tune it. That's what it's all about. Getting in that dirt, getting in the good fall air when you can get in and do it. It's exciting. And I can tell you that if you are a bracket racer, if you think you have what it takes, come to Kentucky, because some of the best bracket racers in the country come out of the hills of Kentucky. Little Sandy, Shelton's, they put some bracket racers out there. So I know if Kyle was on here, he would probably agree, because I know some of that Michigan money has went home to Kentucky many a time. So
yeah, and that's an Open ET bracket sport tree. So I mean, stock to anything that Paul's got in his stable or is pretty much illegal to run there. And I really like that Next Gen Pro Index for those that don't really know how that class works. Basically, it's similar to the Pro Truck class, where this is all for the young guns in the sport, 19 and under, as Billy said, and they're indexed to the 10th. So get some kind of cool, like, pseudo heads up index racing there for the kids. Pretty cool deal there on Friday as well.
Yeah, that's a neat deal, because if we don't invest and get these young racers, out on the track doing something for them, like, the sport won't progress. And that's what we all want to see. We want to see the next big thing, and I was thinking about this the other day, like, Jared, out in California, when he started riding and stuff, and how much, he's progressed, and Kevin and Bryson and, all these people, these kids that come up through the sport. So it's really cool that, Ricky kind of started that class last year, and we're carrying it on again this year. So yeah, we're excited about that for sure.
That's awesome. Now, what about this single cylinder shootout? Tell me some more about that.
So, that class is dedicated to Hunter Waldrop. Hunter, we lost Hunter in an accident. I believe it was an auto accident, several years ago. And since then, the sport really wanted to do something to remember him, because he left a big splash. So this is like his race. This is his dedicated race that we're doing for him, and James has done for him, and Ricky's done for him, every year since. And so we're excited about it. There's always some big guns that come out for that class. Hunter rode some really heavy hitters as far as single cylinder stuff. So we're excited. And I'm not sure what the lineup's going to look like, but Kevin Cunningham, he's won it a couple of years, or he's been in the finals. Gary Hott, same deal. So there's some big single cylinder stuff that usually shows up. So we're pretty excited. I'm not sure who's going to make it this year, as far as single cylinder stuff, but yeah, it's dedicated to Hunter and his memory.
Yeah, and Paul, that's also open to both 2-stroke and 4-stroke single cylinders. So pretty cool. We normally see those separated in, different, like, PSDA events. So this is where if you've got a single cylinder and you think you're badass, like, you got to show up and really run a number. I think the 2-strokes are up on the 4-strokes, if I'm not mistaken, the past couple of years.
Yeah, I think so. And really ET wise, they were running really close. I know a couple of years when it was, Kevin and Gary's bike and stuff in the finals, like, I mean, it was a neck and neck race. So it's, it's always fun, because, to see two different types of platforms run so close ET wise, it's really cool. You got Kevin's, like a bike like Kevin's big single cylinder, two-stroke versus, Gary's, hard-hitting, 450 Honda based, four-stroke setup. And there's other big singles out there too. The bike that Tony Miller has and the Cavern Road, the flat out bike. That thing is incredible. So we're excited to see who's going to make this make this race and see who's going to come out on top.
Yep,
that's awesome, man. I mean, and speaking of as a non-bike guy, I love hearing stuff like that because that is basically. If you're a single cylinder guy and you think you've got enough, bring it and let's get it. No messing around, no, trying to do an ET bracket or anything else. It's just flat out line them up and let them eat. And I love that.
Yeah, that's it.
So, all right. What do we got going on Saturday then?
So Saturday, I believe we're going to have probably the kids' classes. And then we should have the Showtime shootout dedicated to Showtime. Who, if you didn't know Showtime, it's Brandon Spalding. He's a Kentucky racer. Rode with Tracy Whitlock, Danny Ray. That crew there. We lost him in an auto accident. I think it's probably been about 4 or 5 years now. And he was he was a Shelton's regular. He was a fair race Kentucky regular. He rode Tracy's 425 bike. Just a huge personality, a super great guy to be around, a fun guy, somebody that, he was always just a staple at the track. And, we lost him in a auto accident. So that 425 class is going to be dedicated to him. And that's it, man. I mean, like that's a very emotional race, for Tracy and Danny and Austin, and everybody that's involved, with their program, because he was the cornerstone. He was right there in the thick of it with them. And I know Tracy, will hang it out there to do whatever it takes to win that class in honor. So, and then I think in the evening, we're going to have the Open Outlaw class. Last year we lost Steph, actually testing for this race. This time last year was just over a year ago, a couple of weeks ago, the 26th of August. And we were down there. The reason we were down there that day is to help James get ready for this race. And we were cleaning the track and mowing and stuff. And, because it did mean so much, Tracy and them were down there because we wanted to honor Hunter. We wanted to honor, Brandon. So we were down there, helping James out and doing some testing after we finished all of our chores. And, everybody knows, what happened with Steph. We lost her that night. Last year, James asked me if I'd be okay with doing a, kind of a memorial, class for Steph like we do, for Hunter and Brandon. And I said, absolutely. She would love it. Steph rode, arguably some of the baddest shit to ever hit the dirt. She was an outlaw in every sense of the way. So, I think this class is, it's fitting. Last year we had it, but it rained it out. So, as long as the weather holds out, this will be the first time that we'll get to run it. I got Moose Knuckle here behind me, our 4-cylinder bike. I'm not taking Moose Knuckle this weekend. I decided I'm just going to focus on some other stuff and work on the customer build. And so I'll be taking the trail bike, which is just our little beater bike.
A little beater. Okay, Paul. I think you're selling it short a little bit here.
Yeah, I think I went like a 325 on it last time we were in Shelton, but literally like it's our beater bike. But no, I'll probably ride it, in the outlaw class, and that was the last bike that Steph actually ever raced. at a race. The week before her accident, we had went down to Little Sandy on a random like Thursday night. She'd worked all day. It was during the summer, so I was off. I was off school, and I said, "Hey, Little Sandy's bracket racing tonight. I'm like, you want to go? You want to go? And we'll just run the trail bike." And she said, "Yeah, let's go." So like we left after she got off work. Dewey went with us, and son of a gun, if she didn't win the daggone bracket race that night. And I saw, and the thing about Steph is like, I saw her win piles of money and break record after record after record. And I can tell you and I'm looking at it right now, it's in my shop, this 6 foot tall purple trophy that she won that night made her happier than anything that I ever saw her won. So she, and that was on the trail bike. So, I thought, I was a little, on the fence whether I was going to take the 4-cylinder or not. It's a lot of maintenance. It's a lot to run. It's expensive to run, especially if you break something. And I'm like, you know what? It's okay. Like I'm going to take the trail bike. I'm going to beat on it, and I'm going to do, we're going to do trail bike stuff, So, no, I'm excited about it. It's an honor. It's an honor to get to, remember and celebrate, these three people's contributions to the sport, and I think it's good that, Ricky and James and everybody involved, continue the tradition. I mentally, I just wasn't there this year to like be involved in stuff. I just kind of took a step back and, but that doesn't mean I'm not excited about it and I don't appreciate it. It just means that, I get to be there and, when I strap that helmet on, it's going to mean a little bit more. So no, we're excited. So.
Yep. Yeah. And that open outlaw, that's, it's what the name implies. It's whatever number of cylinders, power adders, whatever you want to throw at it. It's heads up and, rung what you brung and hope you brought enough.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
I think that's super cool because you're going to see a lot of different combinations in there.
Yeah, that's neat again. And, it is, usually the fastest shit at the track, is in that class. And, what I found is, a lot of the hard hitting stuff is fragile. If you can get in there and line up and, you might square up with a bike that's been 3.0s or 290s, but you never know what's going to happen. So well, we a couple of years ago, we were put out first round in it, on the 4-cylinder. It's like, and it just happens, so it's a fun, really cool class to run.
Yeah. And you're going to see, bikes from Friday's 650 twin class. You're probably going to see plenty of bikes from the open twin class also running on Saturday, entering in there. You're going to see triples. You're going to see 4-cylinders, street bike power, 2-stroke. Probably some Raptors are going to be in there.
Yeah.
Another cool class going on Saturday. They got the weight class, the 450, 475. That's the ATV drag racer class. 450-pound combined bike and rider weight, 475cc max. I know that Shelton's, we've been talking a lot about, how quick that track is. And I would expect to see some good numbers laid down both in the 425 Showtime Shootout and the 450, 475 weight class. Probably some numbers are going to make the top 10 lists on both of those categories.
Yeah, no, it's always exciting to watch that class because, when it first came out, when Brett first introduced it, the number one ET on the list is now, barely hanging on. That class has really come a long way. It's really cool to watch. James, he has the pad there to weigh the bikes on. I've got the ATV drag racer scales, so I'll have them there with me. If not, we'll, if we don't use those, we'll use Tracy's or Michael Lee's or James's, either one. So we'll have several sets of scales there to weigh the bikes in. I know Danny Ray Sanders, he does a great job organizing that. He participates in it as well, but no, that's exciting. It really is.
Yeah. And that's one of those cool classes that, with a lot of these classes, we're talking all this heads up stuff. It's, as you said, badass is not cheap. And unfortunately, you know, a lot of those classes they take a pretty hefty pocketbook to run, but that weight class, that being that it's got that minimum weight requirement, that's kind of your limiting factor, along with the CC limitation on there. So it's an affordable class for people that want to go run heads up and do something a little bit more than the open bracket racing or any like index stuff around the country.
Right. No, and it's cool, and it's a fast class. You know, it's a fast class. I think Eric Eschwall is number one on the list right now, and I like a 370, 371 ish.
Yeah, low 370s. I mean, I think up through the top, I want to say top 10 is maybe there's a 380 hanging on in there, but I want to say most people are in the 70s to get you in the top 10 within the class nowadays.
Yeah, no, it's a definitely a fun class. And it's usually the biggest class at the race. So that, and then some of the the twin and the other twin Banshee classes, like you said, the open twin class that they're going to be running on Saturday as well. It's as long as it's got two cylinders, Banshee base, they're gonna let you in there, and you never know, like there's some really hard hitting 421s out there, 650s out there. So it's always cool to see who comes out on top. In that class. So
definitely.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, if you're into ATV racing, there's something for everybody really in the next couple of days here. I mean, that's what it boils down to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, and again, if you are looking to lay down a big number, you're close to Kentucky. This is going to be your chance because the weather, the air gets really good at night. We're going to have some moisture coming in this weekend, which is going to be a good thing because we have been dry here. So yeah, we're going they're calling for some rain, but that's going to do nothing but make the track faster. And it's one of those tracks that the more moisture you get in it, the faster it goes. It's a lot like West Michigan, if the fastest we ever went to West Michigan, Silverback, there was, I'm not exaggerating. There was 6 inches of water on the track when we woke up in the morning. They squeegee it off the top of the track up there, and that's the fastest we ever went. So, and Shelton's is the same way. It's like, it's been so dry that the track is going to take the water that we're going to get, and I think it's going to be a good fast weekend for everybody.
Oh yeah, and James is he's top notch when it comes to prepping that dirt. I mean he is a dirt whisperer with the track there, so he's going to take whatever moisture has gotten onto the track. He's going to work it in. He's going to break up all the clumps. He's going to make that track just primo for those numbers, and good weather too. So. Yeah. It's going to be the perfect combination. And even if you guys are, not really interested in coming out to do the race, at least show up for that test and tune. It's a great, time to go and run some numbers before the last PSDA event of the year in Gilbert, Louisiana in October. So this is a great time to go and test and work out some bugs and, see what similar conditions are going to be. So it's going to be a good time.
Yep. No, we're looking forward to it, and we appreciate you guys doing dedicating a podcast to it, or a segment of the podcast to it, because it means a lot. It means a lot, to the families of the people that we're celebrating, so thank you guys for that. Really, really appreciate it.
Hey, we love to cover everything. And I tell you what, it's fun for guys like me that are maybe not so much, got maybe partial of a foot into the bike world. I understand enough what you guys are talking about to be dangerous to myself and my own pocketbook. So, but it's really fun to hear about some of these races, and hopefully, one of these days we'll all be on site and we can hang out a little bit. So, all right. Well, hey, I think that about covers it. Wrap up. Anything you want to put a bow on this there, Paul or Caleb?
No, just thank everybody. Appreciate all the support, not only for the race, but just for the sport in general. There's a lot of great people in this sport, whether they're building chassis, building motors, selling parts, running tracks. Get out there, support the sport, make it grow. Don't be afraid to knock on doors. When you have questions, there's tons of us out there that are willing to help, willing to to do whatever it takes to help you achieve your goals. So thank you guys. We're excited about it. We do as far as our camp here, we do plan on making it to Gilbert for most of the days. I think I'm going to miss one day, but we plan on making it to Gilbert. And don't forget, I'm giving away a turbo chassis in Gilbert this year. So I'll be shaking that tree here after the Shelton's race, hitting it hard, getting people their last chance to win literally a free turbo chassis. I'll be giving it away in Gilbert. Jordan has been messaging me. We've been working out the details on what it's gonna be as far as length and everything goes. I think it's going to be something that somebody's going to walk away from Gilbert with a brand new turbo chassis that's never been in the dirt for $0. By all they had to do was just buy parts from us this year, and they get entered into the drawing for free. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
that's awesome.
Buy stuff from Paul so you get in that turbo chassis giveaway. Also, get in touch with Paul if you set any records with NSDR at Shelton's. That is going to be legal for one of those records. So check out the National Sand Drag Record Book. See if your bike qualifies for one of those. And then also, it's going to be legal for WSDN records. So check through our record books as well, where you got 2, 3, or 4 wheels, ATV, power sports powered, have at it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, guys. Thank you. We're excited. Appreciate everybody's support and love for the event.
All right. That's our Shelton's preview. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another segment here on the Paddle Talk podcast. Right now, we are joined by Mr. Derek Howard, fresh off the Comp Eliminator experience at the U.S. Nationals. I'm not jealous at all. No, that's a pure bold-faced lie. I am really jealous. So, Derek Howard, take us through that. Literally 30 seconds of that action a second.
It was a great experience there at the U.S. Nationals. I can't thank Clint Neff enough for allowing me to be a part of his team. To see Callie Neff get her first Comp Eliminator win on a Friday night in the Comp Clash, that was right there. That made my whole weekend. I was like, this is great. And then to see Kayla Mazeres get the win on Monday at the Big Go, her third career win as far as national event, and then she's got that divisional race at Tulsa. That made it probably one of the greatest weekends of racing for sure that I've ever seen or been a part of. And I have two.
That's awesome, man. That is the coolest, I gotta tell you.
Very thankful for Clint Neff and his whole family for being part of his team. So I can't thank him enough.
That's awesome. Let's talk some Atoka then. Woo.
All right.
My goodness. Where are we heading?
Let's start with Pro 1 cars. That's pretty much our biggest class, our fastest class. Pro 1 cars is 4.50 seconds and quicker. Pro Tree, and we've been averaging close to between 18 to 20 entries. I think 26 is our largest field so far this year. So it's been the biggest class so far.
And I'm guessing lots of dragsters, lots of alters, that sort of stuff.
Pretty much everybody's a dragster. Every once in a while, an alter to pop in. Couple homemade buggies or somewhat like that, front engine cars. So, but most of them are the dragsters.
Oh yeah.
A couple of Jeeps, forgot about that, but yep.
Oh yeah.
Most of them are the dragsters.
Sure. Sure.
Looks like
who's our usual suspects to watch in that class then?
Right now, JT Hosting's leading the points, but Brad Sivils and John Acker are there right behind him. I had a new first-time winner. Tyler Smitham won the August race. He drove a former Bill Roston Jeep. We just recently lost Bill Roston, so pretty special to see Tyler get the victory over Randy Kimbley and get his first career Pro 1 car win. So
That's awesome.
yes, it was very special. And as far as points, JT Hosting is leading the points. He's got 140. Texas Brad Civil right behind with 130. And then another Texan, John Acker, is also 130. A little farther back is John Pate. John Pate is pretty much in need of a win to keep his championship hopes alive. And then Jim Fletcher rounds out the top 5.
So for Pro 1, what's a good possible point total with a win in that class?
40 points would be max with the win.
40 points max. Okay.
With 5 rounds. Yep. 35 would be for 16, a 16 car field. 4 rounds would be 35 points. 5 rounds make it 40.
Okay. Gotcha. So then where are we heading after that?
Let's go ahead and finish our car classes. Let's go to Pro 2 cars. That's 4.50 seconds and slower. Full tree, dragsters, mini dragsters, couple of trucks, pretty much side by sides can run in that. That's pretty much your Pro 2 car class as far as what you'll see.
Okay.
Leading the points is Audra Matthews. She has a 140. Audra is looking for her 3rd consecutive championship.
Ooh.
Right behind her is Jessica Powell, who came off the win in August. She was down 40 and knocked it down to 20. So 140 for Audra, 120 for Jessica. And Jessica is tied with Luke Heisey from Texas, also with 120. William Rainey is 4th, and Aiden Owens is 5th. William Rainey is in a must-win situation as well, with having being 40 points behind.
Sure. What's our points leader? What is she? You said 3, going for her 3rd consecutive championship in that class. What is she driving?
It could technically be a Pro 1 car. They got it back down. She's either 16 or 17. She's a senior in high school. It's a small block Pro 1 car, or basically could be a Pro 1 car. They just got it backed way down so she can run Pro 2 and get those little bit more experience before they move her on up to Pro 1, which could be happening next year.
Yeah, no doubt. 3 consecutive championships will do that for you.
Yep.
Wow. All right, so what's next?
Pro 1 quads. Let's go with them. Start the quads off. That we changed it this year. It's 4.99 seconds and quicker, and they are on a Pro tree for the Pro 1 quads. We've been averaging.
What's a typical class count for that class?
This year it's down a little bit. Last couple of months it's getting better. Probably around 8 to 10. We used to average 16 to 20. It used to be a pretty big class, but this, according to what I'm hearing, the economy and people just don't have the money. They got other things going, but they plan to be back. So hopefully we'll see them back. Hopefully next year.
All right.
And this is the class where the Keith Ahart quad is leading the points with Bryce Williams being the rider. He's got 115 total points. Greg White is 2nd with 95, and then you got Randy Kimbley also with 95. Dylan Sibbles is 4th with 80, and Roy Cooper rounds out the top 5 at 70. So basically 3 riders are in contention for the championship: Bryce, Greg, and Randy, with 20 points separating all them.
And the guys behind need some help, is what it boils down to.
Yep.
Yep. All right. So what's our next bike class then?
Let's go ahead and do Pro 2 quads. It's a 5 flat to 599. No side by side in the quad class. You either got to be a Pro 1 car or Pro 2 quad for them. So it's 5 flat to 599. Full tree. And this class is kind of interesting as far as where the points are right at the moment. Axel Smithhart is leading with 100. His mother is currently tied with in second with 85. I hear they're not going to be here this weekend. They've already got prior plans and commitments. So there's your top two that possibly will not show up unless something changes. Roy Cooper, who is also tied for second with 85. I think he's going to be there. If you've got the list pulled up, there is an error. Greg White should be tied for second as well with 85. There's an error on my part, and I caught it last night. So he has 85. So there's 3 tied at 85 points. And then you got the 2 other youngsters, Cameron Pate and Jace Cassins, who also has a chance. Technically, they could run in the juniors, but they decided to move up to Pro 2 quads. And they're at 80. So
Gotcha.
it'll be very interesting after this race to see what happens, especially if the Smithharts don't show up.
Absolutely. Could be a pretty good point shakeup by the end of the evening on Saturday. Wow.
Yes.
Awesome.
Very,
All
very
right. So what else
interesting.
do we have then for the weekend?
We got 3 more classes. Pro 3 quads is the next one. And there is currently a tie with them. Pro 3 quads is 6 flat and slower. Full tree. Lexi Howick is leading the points, or tied with Gage Furham. Both of them have 130. Gage just came off a win in August. Lexi had a second round loss, so puts them tied. And third place is Anita Zerlin. She has 105. She is part of that Smithhart team. She may not be there, so third place may not attend. So it could be Lexi and Gage running for the championship. Laura Furham is in fourth. She's quite a ways back at 70. And then Madison Rainey rounds out the top 5 with 65. So basically, if Anita don't show up, it's down to basically 2, Lexi and Gage.
Sure. So they could be literally running for the championship without the third place person showing up, because they'll open up enough of a lead that they're not going to catch them at that point.
Yeah, it's already at 25, so if they don't show up, it's pretty much over for Anita.
Yep.
And then we got juniors are next. Juniors is 15 and younger. Pretty much anything goes. We got Jeeps, quads, mini dragsters. This have to be 15 and younger. Kason Schull was leading the points with 115. He does drive that deep. Second is Emily Matthews, who made a big jump with her win. I think she was 4th after coming into the August race and moved up to 2nd. She's 5 points behind with 110. Then you got Bodie Smithhart, who is 3rd. If the Smithharts don't come, he's not looking good. Forrest Williams is in 4th, and Carly Fraser is also tied. And they got 90. Juniors, there's definitely 3 that still have a shot, if not all 4 of them. So it could get interesting after this weekend if the right people go out early and others go to the late rounds.
Sure.
And last class is the Pee-wees. We don't really have an age limit on Pee-wees. We base it off experience. And we've had quite a few in this class. We've had 25, 26, 7 entries.
Oh, man.
20, probably average 20 at least in the Pee-wee class. Leading the points is Dalton Thomas with 110. Swayze Stevens has 100, and she's second. Blake Hall is third with 95. And if I remember correctly, those were all tied going into the August race, so that got shaken up a little bit. Grant Rainey is fourth, and Charlie Hosting is fifth. So the top four are definitely still alive for the championship in the Pee Wee class.
Sure. With that many cars, that's some good rounds that can be won. And yeah, we can see somebody jump up from back of the pack a little bit, so to speak.
Yes. And I think Dalton and Blake ran first round last month, so that's kind of what shook them up. Dalton got the round win, and Blake lost first round, so that hurt Blake. So Blake needs to go some rounds if he wants to contend for the championship again.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Well, how's our weather looking down there for the weekend?
Today on the news, I saw it's going to be hot, or what they're predicting. It's going to be 95 to 100, sunny and no rain in the forecast. So looks like a pretty hot September.
Wow. Well, I mean, at least there's no rain, though. I mean, hot, I guess you can deal with a little bit. So,
yep. I mean, we need the rain, but you don't want it on race weekend for sure.
That's right. It can rain somewhere in the other 5 days, you know?
Right. Especially here.
Absolutely. All right. Anything else we should know about coming to Atoka this weekend?
Not off the top of my head, I don't think so. We just got there's 2 points races remaining. We got September and then Fall Fest. Hopefully we can get Fall Fest information posted after we complete this race, hopefully.
Awesome.
That'll be our final points race, and we'll add the top eliminator and top alcohol classes to that. So
sweet. I like it. Well, I'll put a plug in here. If you're heading for Atoka this weekend, it sounds like packing the sunscreen, sunglasses, and maybe swing by Walmart or Rural King for a cheapo kiddie pool might be on the agenda. So,
yep.
All right. So that is our Atoka preview for this coming weekend, September 13 and 14.
Hey, folks, this episode of Paddle Talk is brought to you by RacingInTheDirt.com. Racing in the Dirt has parts, equipment, and apparel for all your off-road competition needs. Racing in the Dirt has just one mission, and that's to help all of their customers compete at their very best. With over 30 years of motorsports competition experience, they know what it takes to maintain that competitive edge, and they are equipped to keep you there. On-site welding and fabrication, incredible selection of parts, and experience and helpful staff as well. If you go to their website, racinginthedirt.com, you can shop for parts and custom-built chassis as well. They sell quality brands such as Interco, Molinari, Reel, SCS gearboxes, Yukon gear and axle, RJS racing equipment, Moser Engineering, Simpson, Stroud, Willwood, MSD Ignition, AFCO, FTI, Good Vibrations Motorsports, and King Off-Road Racing Shocks. You can look at their axles and parts, where Racing in the Dirt offers all of the Go Fast parts for any axle setup. Have you checked out their new Dana 30 Fab housing? Racing in the Dirt Pro D30 housing starting at $590. Their Racing in the Dirt tires, the DOT boggers, standard cut boggers, Magnum cut boggers, platinum cut boggers, DOT TSL swampers, the cut swampers, and they even cut your tires on site. Once again, over 30 years of experience doing this stuff, so you know you're getting good quality stuff from Racing in the Dirt. Also, Real Wheel dealers. They have a bunch of awesome real wheels from Real Racing Wheels. And they're Racing in the Dirt built chassis, whether you're looking for a full build, turnkey, ready to race, or simply a cage in your existing ride, or maybe a chassis that will be in the foundation of your newest race vehicle. Racing in the Dirt offers it all. You can also contact them about a consultation today. You can search for their products on their website. They have wheel adapters, hub kits, brake hat kits, brake and hub components, suspension parts, air filters, racing in the dirt knuckles, axles and parts, racing in the dirt chain drives and parts, limiter straps, parachute setups, side-by-side and UTV parts. So you can get in touch with them at 920-693-2000. Once again, that's 920-693-2000. And you can even email them at Scott, that's SCOTT, Scott at racinginthedirt.com. Once again, you can get a hold of them by calling them at 920-693-2000. 920-693-2000. You can also email them at Scott, SCOTT, at racinginthedirt.com. And then they are also open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And don't forget to check out their website, racinginthedirt.com. That is racinginthedirt.com. And don't forget the UPS Daily.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our next segment of the Paddle Talk podcast. And we are talking Outlaw Sand Drag Series finale coming up at Brookville, 20th and 21st of this month. We are joined by Ryan Wilson and Damian Bowers to talk all things, Outlaw finale. So, gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, look, at least Ryan appreciates being here. Damian, on the other hand, he just figures he's like,
I've been here enough times. I know what's going on.
All right, so we're going to Brookville. What are we doing Friday night, gents?
So Friday night, kind of normal show that we've done for the last couple years. 350 index, 40 index. We have an outlaw bracket class, which is just kind of like an open bracket class. And we do some TE qualifying. Try to get 2 rounds in for the evening.
All right, and Damian Bowers, who are our usual suspects and point leaders in the 350 class?
Well, right now, 350 class, Austin Bullock's got far and away, he's got a 4-round point lead on the next car, which is Ryan Kerr with the Swamp Donkey and Terry Wise with his dragster that's coming down from Michigan. He's always a strong contender for the 350 class. You're going to have Rodney Upchurch, Justin Diesel probably be in there, Craig Gum. It's a large number of cars that are always a contender for the 350 class, but Austin, he's had a bit of a lock on that as he's won and then got second in Michigan this year.
All right. And then 4-0 class, you guys, that is also a points bearing class?
Yes, and that's the one I'm dealing with, as we've got myself with the points lead. Rebecca Boyce is 1 round behind me, as is Anthony Ball. And then we're going to have so many different cars down there that Brookville, 4-0 is a huge grouping of cars. Look at maybe 12 to 15 cars probably at Brookville.
Well, I'm going to send my personal representative, Brian Jones, down, and he says he's going to teach you all how to run 4-0. So we'll see how that works out as well.
He's going to try and play spoiler this year?
Yeah.
I think he's still a little upset after last year.
Thank Mother Nature on that one.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So then big open bracket class, non-points tracking, but usually, Ryan, any guesses how many cars you're looking at for that bracket class on Friday night?
We do track the points in that class.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yep. So, and I think it's a pretty tight race too.
Jon Sorg's got 4 rounds on TJ McDonald. But after that, it's TJ, Kyle Weedmile, Jason Fulmer, Wade Pruitt, all right there together.
And it's usually well over a 32 car field, so should be.
Wow.
Oh, definitely.
That's a heck of a bracket class for a Friday night, man. Nothing
Yep.
wrong with that. Holy smokes. All right. So into Saturday, what are we looking at there, gents?
So we have kind of our Outlaw Index, which is, I guess kind of our version of Pro Truck a little bit. Just the 450 breakout out of the 10 Pro Tree class, and then top eliminator, and then Pee Wees and juniors to start the day off. But I think the TE field, I think we're gonna kind of definitely break that 24 car field mark with this one. So should be really exciting.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. With the season being pretty much over up here in Michigan, I know there's a fair amount of guys planning on traveling. So, Damian, give us 4 guys to watch in that class for the weekend.
Okay, so going to King of the Outlaws, top eliminator, that is a surprisingly tight points race this year, actually, because just right off of the bat, the top 4 in points are usually your top contenders there anyways for top eliminator this year. Cody Trice is leading, tied with Adam Rowe. 1 round behind them is Jim Lancourt. 2 rounds behind them is Kyle Farwick. And also within 2 rounds is Corey Gum and Kathy Ellington. So within 2 rounds, you have 6 people there that have all ran in the 290s this year.
Awesome. I love it.
And I heard somebody from Texas might be coming to play spoiler.
I've heard that rumor as well.
So
nice. Billy Teters, are you confirming that?
Indeed, yes.
Indeed, there we go.
When I was at the MRA race in Mississippi, Wade Schultz was in the comments of the live stream. He said, "We'll see you in Brookville." So, that's really exciting.
Forward to that.
Yep. And then I think even some Kansas City people are coming. Sounds like I haven't really heard any confirmed, but it looked like there were some comments maybe about the track record and Van Lett's tear on just obliterating track records wherever he goes.
I don't know about Mr. K-Brick, but I do know Russ Bailey is going to go play in Indiana with well, I'll be there, but I won't be racing, but I'll be hanging out, providing coverage. But I do the Team Texas going there is pretty exciting. And then it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a good one for sure.
I think Mr. Doug Van Lett possibly might have something to say about track records if he hauls down there as well.
Yeah.
We know he's coming.
What's the track record at Brookville?
I believe it is somewhere in the 270s currently.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah. With the Terry's been going on, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets it to go A to B without the rear end coming off the ground on that clay. He might dip into the mid to low 240s at Brookville.
Yeah, because he was 250s at
no.
Silverback, like, it wasn't a thing. So it was very watch him.
Yeah, that car never sounded like it was working hard at all the entire weekend.
But yeah, I mean, we are super thankful for all the support we get, year in and year out from the coverage you guys provide to the people that are coming to the races. We've pretty much had at least a 16 car TE field or King of the Outlaw field, over the last probably 3 years. We definitely fought some weather, but I think that's kind of just nature of the beast. But we want to keep this thing going, keep it growing. We'd love to see, 32 car TE fields and things like that. So we kind of do a unique thing where we try to get it on a 16 to 32 car even ladder. So 1 and 2 don't run each other till the finals. We try to get rid of all the bye runs within the first round. It's a little confusing if you've not been to one, but I think it makes for some really exciting racing as the night goes on.
No, I would agree. And getting rid of the buys in the first round, like you said, sometimes it's a little confusing, but I think that's definitely the way to go because you end up with good matchups all the way through at that point. So
definitely.
Yep. for sure. So, all right. So if somebody's interested in coming, wants more information, Ryan, who are they getting a hold of?
You can reach out to Cody Trice, Otis Sizemore, or myself. So, I know I actually talked to Tom Hartman today. So he's coming.
Ooh,
Pretty exciting.
nice to see him travel.
So, and I'd be interested to say that he's probably going to run 4.0 down there because he was getting pretty close at West Michigan or at Silverback.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. No, you're right.
There'd be a big spoiler in the 4.0 class right there.
yeah.
As long as it's got a pro tree, I'm sure he'll run it. So,
Yep. So, I mean, kind of the Outlaw series, I always call it like a spinoff of what you guys did with the Pro Truck, Isaac. Huge fan of the Pro Truck back in the day, and currently, that was up there this weekend. That was an awesome race. Always enjoy hearing you on the mic and stuff. And that Pro Truck Elite was phenomenal. I said that matchup between Earl and Curtis Holmes, that was probably one of the best sand by side sand drag races I've seen in a long time.
I would 100% agree. That was the best side by side truck pass I personally have ever seen. I mean, you couldn't have got any better. The numbers were just there, and true win margin was a 9 or 7 thousandths, was just unbelievable. And I tell you what, without getting too much off topic, we kind of got robbed because that final of Benson and Earl, I felt, was going to be pretty special.
Yeah.
So on that note, Darren Smith repaired for the Outlaw race or not so much?
No, he's back together. So he texted me today and said the Jeep's good to go. So we got a few things to do here. Unfortunately, I think we're only going to take one car. But we were hoping to take the truck too, but we're probably just going to take the car this weekend. And but so we're pretty close to being ready to go. So we'll probably load up this weekend. But yeah, Darren's back together. I think JR, he actually ended up having a rear end failure, so he was kind of sourcing today, and so he should be there. So there's those two are some interesting cars to watch too. Kind of up and coming and what they're doing with their program.
I gotta say that car at JR Calvert's, I had not seen that thing in person. It is, I'll be honest, better than advertised even. I mean, I'd heard it was pretty nice. That thing was gorgeous. Fit and finish and just everything was very, very nice. So, yeah, very impressed there.
Yep. Yeah, it's a nice piece, and he's, taking a lot of pride in what he's done with it. So, I'm proud of what he's got. Always like helping him out, and JR's, good friends with Darren and myself. So, he's been around with us so a little bit. So I'm happy with where he's going and where he's been so far.
Good deal, man. No, that's awesome. All right. So, hey, anything else you guys want to get out there while we're still talking Outlaw finale?
Well, we still got the Outlaw Index class, which is more or less our equivalent to the Pro Truck points, which is being led by someone who's been leading in Michigan all year. Jon Sorg's leading 2 points classes in the Outlaw series. Or no, sorry, no, he's not. My bad. He's second, but it's him, Matt Peel, and Blake Cole's leading the points. So Matt Peel's having to come down here and borrow a ride somewhere. We don't know who's quite yet. Maybe D's, or he might drag something down from the woods.
That would be pretty good. And of course, obviously, Jon will be there. So, and Jon's on a okay roll of his own. So,
definitely, he's had a really good
year. So, all right. Well, hey, that sounds really good. Yeah, 20th and 21st, Brookville.
I think it's going to be, kind of like the, Pro Truck finale was a great race, and I think this will be a good one. So you don't want to miss them. If you're missing those two series, you're kind of missing out on some of the best racing of the year.
Absolutely. No, I agree 100%. So, all right. So there you go.
Well, thank you
Outlaw
guys.
Series finale, Brookville, Indiana, September 20 and 21. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in for another segment of the Paddle Talk podcast. Billy Teters and I are going to discuss some results from Thunder Valley Sand Drags from this past weekend and a little preview of their nationals coming up later on. So, Billy, what do we got?
Well, first of all, Isaac, thank you for your time, and we're going to talk about Thunder Valley Sand Drags. Our latest race was just past Saturday on September 7th, and we'll start with the kids here. Pee-wees, we had okay, let me start with this. Pee-wees, first place was Gabe Johnson, second place was Riker Ballard. Both of those are first and second in the points race, but Gabe Johnson to start racing his first time trial, he gets to about the 60-foot mark. His little quad goes sideways and flips him off the quad. The quad lands on top of him. It looked pretty nasty at first, especially when you see the video afterwards. But he ended up getting up. He finished all three of his time trials, and he went on to win the race. So shout out to Gabe. And he wasn't hurt, but he wasn't seriously hurt. But his pride might have been hurt a little bit. But he got up, got back on the bike, and it was all good. So shout out to Gabe for being strong in that moment. And
our guy was not going to be denied, man.
No, he sure wasn't. And I don't think his grandpa was going to let him quit either. They're a resilient bunch for sure. But yeah, Riker's first in the points, Gabe's second in the points, so that's interesting to see. In juniors, our points leader Chase McLaughlin took the win over Cody Gentry. Cody Gentry on his little red Honda pit bike, Chase McLaughlin on his snowmobile powered junior dragster. So quite a variety of vehicles here. In pro comp, we had an engaged couple soon to get married on October 5th weekend. They were racing for first place. First place, Hunter Shelton. Second place, Mackenzie Evans, soon to be Mackenzie Shelton. But that's really cool to see that. And Mackenzie's second ever race in the car. She gets second in pro. And then in sport comp, she takes the win over Jason Bird. Mackenzie Evans is the lady driving the Gums old buggy that they had. So that car is still winning races. Jason Bird racing Shirley Muldowney's former Top Fuel car, not with the Top Fuel engine, but just a small block V8, runs 470s, and good enough to podium in sport comp.
That's crazy. I love it though.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. John Moreland actually acquired that car probably about 15 years ago and ran in Top Eliminator at first. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Actually, probably further than that. But anyway, Pro 1 ATV. Seth Curtis, and this is actually a rematch of Pro 1 ATV 2 weeks ago. Seth Curtis gets the win again over Cody Gentry. Seth Curtis is on a tear. He really is, and I'll explain why in a second. But in Pro 2 ATV, Craig McNeil, the points leader, takes the win over Riker Ballard. So that's the second place finish for Riker Ballard on the day. Craig McNeil, always a killer in Pro 2. Hard to beat. And then Seth Curtis turns around and does it again in Sport ATV. So that's 2 races in a row that Seth Curtis wins Pro 1 ATV, which is $4.99 and faster on the Pro Tree. And then Sport ATV, he won as well, which is an open bracket that you race for a trophy. And wow. It was just very, very competitive racing. And then side-by-side class, Tori Pitts gets the win over Cameron Petty. Tori owns that class, basically. So, and I want to give a big shout out to Boom Graphics for getting us these awesome awards. If I had one right here in front of me, I'd show you guys because they use like a PVC style cutout. And it's just, they look awesome. The colors pop. It's really cool to hang on your wall. And Isaac, if you let me here, before we end this, shameless plug. This is not a shameless plug. It's a preview of our Nationals race coming up September 27th and 28th at Thunder Valley, Sand Drags, Green Valley, Missouri. We got top alcohol running. We got top eliminator running. We got pro comp, all those classes I listed before our usual races. On Friday night, we're running the 50-50 class. Isaac's familiar with the 50-50 stuff. That's a $50 entry. 50% of the pot goes to first place winner. 50% goes to the track. We'll have a class for cars. We'll have a class for ATVs. And then we'll also run test and tune on Friday from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. And then 6:30 on Friday, we'll start the first qualifying session for top eliminator and top alcohol. And then we'll run out the 50-50 classes until they're done. And then we'll end the night Friday with the second qualifying session for top eliminator and top alcohol. Saturday, we'll wake up at noon. We'll start racing at noon. We'll do the Pee-wees and juniors classes. We'll get those done, time trials and eliminations. And then roughly around 3 p.m., we'll do the third qualifying session for top eliminator and top alcohol. And then we'll do our pro and sport time trials for cars and ATVs, side-by-sides as well. And then we'll have a final qualifying session for top eliminator and top alcohol. Right after the final qualifier, we're going to have a wheelie show. We're going to have some kids on their mini bikes come out to the track and see how far they can ride a wheelie down the track. It's going to be really fun to see that. And then
is this going to involve your mini bike?
It might.
It might. All right.
It might. No, probably not. But but after the wheelie contest, as the wheelie contest basically keep people entertained while the track staff is getting the brackets and everything set, dial-ins getting brought in and whatnot. So that does take a little bit of time. But while we're doing that stuff, you'll be seeing some kids pop some wheelies. Cole Ballard, Cody Gentry, maybe Brody Hibden as well. Those guys always tearing it up on their stuff around the track. And then just a quick preview of our classes and fees. We have top alcohol, which is a $500 entry fee. Top eliminator, $295 index, $200 entry fee. Pro comp, a $100 entry fee, which is a pro light open bracket class. Sport comp is a open bracket class for a trophy. That is $30 entry fee. Those are just for cars or side-by-sides. Pro 1 ATV is $4.99 and faster, $100 entry fee. Pro 2 ATV is 5.0 and slower, $50 entry fee. Sport ATV, open bracket for ATVs, $30 entry fee. Side-by-side class, a $50 entry fee. And that's a cash payout for the side-by-sides as well. And then juniors is $20, Pee-wees is $20, and our 50-50 classes are $50. So, yeah, September 27th and 28th. Doug Vinlett, Mr. I'll go to everywhere and break a track record. Come to Thunder Valley and do the same thing. That'd be awesome. It'd be awesome just to have you there. So, yeah, that's what I got, Isaac.
It sounds like Doug Vinlett and Rick Ensing need to travel a little bit at the end of this month.
Yeah, we got the place for them to run fast. We got plenty of shutdown. I could plug it all day long. Yeah, we got plenty of space for you guys to go fast at Thunder Valley. So come on down.
There you go.
Scott and Shane.
All right. So, hey, so great results. Good to hear those. And yeah, especially you top alcohol guys, but anybody really interested in getting in on some good bracket racing yet that doesn't want their year to end, end of September, really great race to go to. So,
hey, folks, this episode of Paddle Talk is brought to you by RacingInTheDirt.com. Racing in the Dirt has parts, equipment, and apparel for all your off-road competition needs. Racing in the Dirt has just one mission, and that's to help all of their customers compete at their very best. With over 30 years of motorsports competition experience, they know what it takes to maintain that competitive edge, and they are equipped to keep you there. On-site welding and fabrication, incredible selection of parts, and experienced and helpful staff as well. If you go to their website, racinginthedirt.com, you can shop for parts and custom-built chassis as well. They sell quality brands such as Interco, Molinari, Reel, SCS gearboxes, Yukon gear and axle, RJS racing equipment, Moser Engineering, Simpson, Stroud, Willwood, MSD Ignition, AFCO, FTI, Good Vibrations Motorsports, and King Off-Road Racing Shocks. You can look at their axles and parts where Racing in the Dirt offers all of the Go Fast parts for any axle setup. Have you checked out their new Dana 30 Fab housing? Racing in the Dirt Pro D30 housing starting at $590. They're Racing in the Dirt tires, the DOT boggers, standard cut boggers, magnum cut boggers, platinum cut boggers, DOT TSL swampers, the cut swampers, and they even cut your tires on site. Once again, over 30 years of experience doing this stuff, so you know you're getting good quality stuff from Racing in the Dirt. Also, Real Wheel dealers. They have a bunch of awesome real wheels from Real Racing Wheels. And they're Racing in the Dirt built chassis, whether you're looking for a full build, turnkey, ready to race, or simply a cage in your existing ride, or maybe a chassis that will be in the foundation of your newest race vehicle. Racing in the Dirt offers it all. You can also contact them about a consultation today. You can search for their products on their website. They have wheel adapters, hub kits, brake hat kits, brake and hub components, suspension parts, air filters, Racing in the Dirt knuckles, axles and parts, Racing in the Dirt chain drives and parts, limiter straps, parachute setups, side-by-side and UTV parts. So you can get in touch with them at 920-693-2000. Once again, that's 920-693-2000. And you can even email them at Scott, that's SCOTT, Scott at racinginthedirt.com. Once again, you can get a hold of them by calling them at 920-693-2000. 920-693-2000. You can also email them at Scott, SCOTT, at racinginthedirt.com. And then they are also open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And don't forget to check out their website, racinginthedirt.com. That is racinginthedirt.com. And don't forget the UPS Daily.